Everyone, welcome to the video. I can assure you this is no clickbait. I am being absolutely factual with the title. I have never done clickbait and I will never do clickbait, and you can really trust me because I have been clickbaited a couple of times, and you know by who, of course, by Gotham. He would say a billion elo chests, and you would say, yeah, of course, let's click on it. And at the end of the video, Levy never fails to clickbait. Yeah, so you can really trust me on my word, at least this one. So without further ado, let's just hop onto the video. So they open up with e4 and we play the Pierce defense, this move to e6. So the role this pawn plays is that it stops any pawn to e5 moves when we develop our knight to f6, where our knight does not get attacked. Against d4 it can also be played, but it's not called the, it's not called the Pierce. If they do not continue with e4, so c4 is going to be the King's Indian in some cases. So basically, let me just go here, and when white has a chance, they will of course take the center with 2 pawns. That's the most principled decision. We attack their center and we defend. And here, since our bishop doesn't have any future along this diagonal, 2 pawns are blocking it, we put it the other way. So here there are 2 setups for white which are actually really aggressive and threatening, against which you have to sort of know some exact moves, otherwise you'll just get crushed and you will blame me for your losses, even though of course it's your fault. So one of those is this setup with bishop e3 and queen d2, going towards castling, but they're not committing themselves to castling yet, and they also want to possibly play bishop h6, turning off the bishop. So here I actually recommend not castling immediately, because they can immediately lunge their pawn into your position and also just get the straight whenever they want, which is not really what we want. Here I prefer to play this move c6. So the idea of this move c6 is that you're basically saying, whenever you castle queenside, I'm ready, right? I'm by your door. I'm gonna attack you whenever you get out, or basically whenever you hide. That way I'll just, push there. It's also sort of a evading move. You're waiting for them to, show what they're trying to do. So this was basically the idea for this bishop e3 and queen d2. The more important idea is to sort of a bit wait and see what they're going to do. And, castle when it's right, or maybe not even castle at all. The center is not yet opened. So yeah, you shouldn't really worry about keeping the king in the center for some time. And also if they, for example, immediately play here, there's no problem, we can just take, and this queen is actually not really threatening anybody. If you want to go here, I just take it, right? You can go a7 or g8, nothing. You're just gonna go back, right? This is not threatening because it basically sort of wastes some time, right? And we can immediately launch our pawn. Maybe get even b4 to take this pawn, for example. So yeah, this is not really that dangerous. The other setup, which is a bit threatening, is this setup with f4, right? It's known as the Austrian attack. So it really may seem frightening at first, they gain a lot of space, they're looking to attack us and crush us off the board, but if you play correctly, you can exploit the 2 problems, the 2 drawbacks to this move. Firstly, it does create some dark squared weaknesses around the position, and secondly, it does not develop a piece. So, in fact, you have to take at least 2 moves here, or 2 moves here, to get your king outside the center. After bishop g7 and knight f3 and short castles, we can, and if they play some move like bishop e2, we can immediately exploit this with playing this move pawn to c5. Opening up the center, the king is still in the center, we have to try to open up the center, otherwise they will have very comfortable advantage. Here, if they, for example, decide to take, we have this very nice move queen to a5. We do not take back with the pawn because they can get a very simple game after castles. Here we're basically going here, this pin, and threatening to take on e4, and then the bishop would also open up, the knight is also there, the queen is also there, this knight will just get harassed, of course, and we will probably win a pawn or 2 in the process. The correct move here is to just play castles, and after queen c5, play king h1. Here we just simply can play here and throw our pawns on the queen side, right? This bishop is open this way, this queen is facing this way, this pawns will go there, we can put a bishop here, get our rook in, we can easily play on the queen side this bishop, will also help the pressure on this pawn. So yeah, basically in this case, you really would like to have this pawn back, but you cannot. That's the sad part, of course. But let me just show you, what if they don't play the right move, right? For example, they play bishop b2, right? Just attacking like this. I just simply take on c5, you cannot castle anymore. And again, you would dream of having this pawn back here. So again, this is exactly how we exploit this move f4. Let's say they do not take, let's say they just push the pawn, right? We immediately attack this again, we want to open the position, of course. And let's say they take, right? Because there was a lot of pressure on the pawn, and there are possibilities of b4, b5. This position, let's say the castle, here you just simply can play a6 again, and you see the bishops, right? You see the bishops are pointing in this direction, like that. Pointing in this direction, and we're just gonna throw our pawns in their position, put the knight out, maybe put the queen out, put the rooks in, the play is going to be in the queen side in this case, because they already have a lot of king side space, and they sort of have some sort of authority over the king side. So, yeah, this was with the 4 pawns attack, but let me just show you something here. They don't have to play this move bishop b2, which is not that good. The stronger move is bishop e3, against which I recommend to play b6, again, looking to play this move. Alongside this move, you can play these 2 ideas, with bishop e7 and knight d7, developing the queen side. It's very harmonious, and it's a very good thing. So you, again, now know how to play against the Austrian attack. It seems dangerous, but being played correctly, it's very good. Although, let me just, for brief moments, for example, if they, if they try to throw the pawns at you, for example here, you simply can take, right, and each way they take, there is one problem with their position, is the pawn on e5 is going to be a target after my knight move. You can just strike back against it. Let me just show you an example. For example, if they take like this, we take the queen, and here they take with the king. I'm just going to go to h5, trying to just, put this move in. It's a bit awkward, of course. g4, of course, is not possible. See this? And if you want to play h3, I just get in, so you can trap my knight. Next move I'm going to play here, and I have a lot of pressure on this pawn, so you cannot really do this. And also, if you take, if you take with the knight, I just go in the center, and of course, if you kick me, it's no problem. Let's go out. The pawns will look very threatening, but they can be quickly played against with this move f6. This move f6 is very important. So, also, let me say, if they take like this, you can just simply put this knight on d5. Again, this f6 move is important. So yeah, it's just simply it. If you push the pawn, you lose control over these squares, which the pawn used to control, and we can very well utilize it. The pawn is a target that high up. Let me just this position. If they don't play those 2, they will probably play something very solid along these lines. For example, knight to f3, you play bishop g7, here bishop e2, for example, like castles. For one interesting line, if they decide to play this move bishop c4, right, after castles, we have this very nice move knight takes c4, so the more aggressive move backfires. You may ask me why and what? Knight takes, right, d5, before them. It's a very common theme in many of king's pawn positions, and like after here, and here, their center is completely has been completely dissolved, and you have a very nice position. So basically, paradoxically, this more quiet looking move, quite literally known as the quiet system, is basically more aggressive than this one, right? Because it stops exchange, so it does not give you a clear target for counterplay. After castles, I recommend bishop g4, basically sending the bishop to die, and then playing e5. The knight was controlling it, so that's why we had to remove it. Let's say they play something like this, and we play knight c6, keeping up the pressure. They kick us, we move back. Here, let's say after a move like queen d3, we move our knight back, and the reason is we're gonna push this pawn, right? We're gonna push this pawn, not necessarily f4, but f5 is very important to gain space and attack on the king side. We're gonna bring our pieces, maybe like we're gonna get something like this, just push all the pawns and get the knights in, get the queen in, get the rooks maybe onto the f file, or maybe onto the g file, with the king moving to h8, and we have a very nice game. So yeah, This was all with this opening. I didn't want to make it too complicated, and it was only 10 minutes. Thank you for watching until now, and really a world of thank yous to you. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe. It really means the world to me. Also, I have a prompt for you today. What is your favorite shake, if you have any? And if you have any, why? Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.